Hello, so in this video I'm going to do some more examples of truth table problems. And again, I recommend that you have, when you do the problems, you have this chart out. So let's look at this sentence, not P and Q. So we'll start here. Okay, so we're starting on the first row where P is true and Q is true, so we have P is true and Q is true. So if P is true, then negation P is, well, it's false because negation flips the values. So now we have a conjunction whose left conjunct is false and whose right conjunct is true. So we are on the third row of the truth value, false, true. And if we look at the conjunction column, we see, aha, the conjunction is false when the left conjunct is false and the right conjunct is true. So this should be false. So, okay, good. And the program agrees. It says if we click true, it would have given us a false, an error message, but F is what we want, so we can click OK. So, good. When P is true and Q is false, is negation P and Q true? No, because negation P is false. So is this formula a tautology? Well, let's see. What is a tautology? Well, remember, if you find a row where the sentence is false, the sentence is not a tautology. If the sentence is true on every row, the sentence is a tautology. So do we know? Yes, because we just found a row right here where the sentence is false. So this is not a tautology. Are we done? Yes. No, we're not. We also have to check the box. We have to say this is the row, an A row in which it's false. As it turns out, this actually is false on a bunch of rows, so it's also false down here, right? If P is false and Q, then not P is true. So we have true and false, true and false, true, false. That's false. So again, the conjunction is true here. So there are actually lots of rows on which this is false. So we just have to check one of them. And once we do, we check it, and then we see that it's correct. So if it's not a tautology, you'll find a row on which it's false. Once you find a row on which it's false, you check that row, you say no, and you're done. Good. Let's look at another problem. If I can manage to make the window go. There we go. Okay, let's get this chart visible again. So now we have a more complex sentence. It only has P's in it, so there are only two rows, but it's a deeper sentence, right? Whoa, yeah, see, right? Because it's a disjunction, but of what? Not P over here, but then this is a negation of a conjunction of negations. So this is big and long. Oh, let's restart this so it's not done. Yeah. Okay, good. So let's start down here. So we know that P is true. So not P, that's false. We know that P is true. There's not P again. Oh, okay, that's false too. So now we have not P and not P, where not P is false and not P is false again. So that means we're on this row. We're on the false, false row, and the conjunction is definitely false when both of the conjuncts are false. So that means that this is false. Okay, well now let's go up here. Well, this up here is a negation of this, right? This is a negation, and it's a negation of something false. And a negation of something false is true. Let's go over here. So here, this P is true. So this is a negation of something true, and so it's false. So now we have a disjunction of true with false. So we have true or false. So if we look at the table, we say true, false. That's the row we're on because we have true, false here. We go across to the disjunction column, we see, aha, it's true. So in fact, this is true. And so we can click OK. So what we learned is that this sentence is true on this row of the truth table. The truth values go up the tree like that, and they get to true. Okay, what about when P is false? Okay, well, so when P is false, not P is true. Here's not P again, so it's true again. So we have true and true, right? This is a conjunction. Then we have a true there and a true there. So we have true and true. So let's look here. We have true, true. That's the row we're on. We're in the conjunction column, so we're right here, and we have the whole thing is true. A conjunction with true conjuncts is a true conjunction. Okay, well, so now we have negation of this. So we have negation of something true. Well, negation of something true, that's false. That's what negation does. If you're here, then the negation of you is false. What if you're false? Well, we agreed, right? That means you're on one of these two rows, and you're true. The negation is true. So negation of false is true. So now we have false or true. Okay, false or true. Is that true or false? Well, if we look on the table, we have false and then true. So we have false, true. We go to the disjunction column, we see true, which makes sense. The or says at least one of my parts is true. Well, in this case, the right part is true, and so the whole or is true, even though the left part is false. So, okay, it's true on both rows. Is the formula a tautology? Yes, it is. Let's look at one more. Oh boy, P or Q or not R. That's long. Lots of rows. Let's start at the top. So we have P or Q. If P and Q are both true, then the disjunction is true. If R is true, then the negation R is false. So we have true or false. Well, one of the disjuncts is true, so that's true. Okay, and in fact, it turns out that this is only false on one row. And I'm going to go right. Well, let's look at one more. Actually, let's do this one. So if P or Q, if P is true and Q is true, then P or Q, that's true. If R is false, then not R is true. We have true or true, so the whole thing is true. And it's going to continue to be true until we get all the way down to here. So here we have P is false and Q is false, and so P or Q is false. R is true, so not R is false. Now we have false or false. Now that's false. And if we weren't sure about that, we could go over here. We'd say, okay, we're on the false row in the disjunction column. So this row, this column, we're right here. So the whole thing is false. So this whole thing is false. Okay, so is the formula a tautology? No, because there's a row on which it's false, namely this one. So we'll check that row, and we'll say it is not a tautology, and that is correct. So that's how you do truth table problems. You just have to check each row using the tree and the truth values you get assigned from the row and this chart to determine how the truth values go up the tree. And if it's true on every row, then it's a tautology, and you say yes here. If it's false on at least one row, you say no, and you check a false row, and you're good to go. One misleading thing that you might have seen, all the tautologies we looked at so far had only one letter in them, P. But one of your homework problems is going to be a tautology with multiple sentence letters. There are lots of those too. So there you go. There's some examples. If you have any questions about these problems, please let me know.